Mr. President, I rise today to announce the introduction of the Bank on Students Emergency Loan Refinancing Act of 2015. This bill will allow student loan borrowers to take advantage of today's lower interest rates, and I urge my colleagues to support it. Last Congress, Democrats pressed for a similar bill, which had strong support from the Senate and from the public. Every Democrat, every independent, and 3 Republicans voted to move this bill forward. More than 700,000 people signed petitions in support of student loan refinancing. But Republicans filibustered the bill, so it didn't pass. It's time to try again, because a problem that was bad last year has gotten worse. Much worse. Since last year, nearly 1 million more borrowers have fallen behind in their payments. Nearly 1 million more are watching their balances get bigger, not smaller. Nearly 1 million more people are sweating out how they are ever going to repay their student loan debt. Last year, student loan debt was an economic emergency, and now, 1 year later, the emergency is getting worse. Just look at the numbers. Students are now struggling with $100 billion more debt than a year ago. Since last year, total student loan debt has jumped to $1.3 trillion, and the debt is crushing young people. Last year, experts at the U.S. Treasury, the Federal Reserve, and the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau all sounded the alarm on student debt. This year, the alarm bells are sounding even louder. A year ago, the federal government was projected to take in tens of billions in profits on the backs of our kids as the result of an artificially high interest rate. 1 year later, interest rates on new loans are even higher. And even with millions of people struggling to pay, even after accounting for administrative and other costs, the federal government is still raking in huge profits on the student loan program. Despite overwhelming public support for cutting the interest rate on student loans, Republicans last year refused to even debate this bill. Republicans said there were other better ways to tackle the student debt, but Republicans did nothing. Nothing except filibuster the only student loan bill on the table. So tens of millions of borrowers got nothing, no help at all. And today, millions of borrowers are left with interest rates of 6%, 8%, 10%, and even higher. Nearly 1 million more borrowers are falling behind, and the Republicans have done nothing. Nearly 1 million more borrowers are falling behind, and they're watching their debt loads get bigger. Nearly 1 million more borrowers are falling behind, paying interest rates that produce obscene profits for the United States government. And the Republicans won't even debate refinancing student loans. So why can't people refinance their student loans? When interest rates are low, homeowners can refinance their mortgages to reduce their payments. Businesses can refinance their debts. Shoot, even governments can refinance their debts. But student loan borrowers are stuck with their loans, sometimes at 6%, 8%, 10%, and even higher. Refinancing student loans won't fix everything that's wrong in our higher education system. We need to cut the price of college. We need to reinvest in public universities. We need to shore up financial aid, to crack down on for-profit colleges, and to provide better protections on student loans. But let's start by allowing people to refinance their student loans. Let's start by cutting back on the interest payments that are sinking young people and holding back this economy. We could have refinanced student loan debt a year ago, but Republicans said no. Now Americans owe $100 billion more than they did. Now nearly 1 million more borrowers are falling behind. Now more people than ever are choking on student loan debt. By refusing to act, Republicans are sinking the hopes of an entire generation. It's time for Congress to step up and fix this problem. before it drags down another million Americans and another and another. It is time to refinance student loan debt. Thank you, Mr. President, and I yield the floor. I suggest the absence of a quorum.
The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Alexander.